Hello, everyone. I'm extremely excited for we're not quite sure which edition this is, but another video with Dan Kitajima, my favorite California agent who always entertains my random video requests to do videos for my agents. I'm so appreciative. We have a really cool topic today that got sparked from a recent or a current, I guess I'm doing it now, staff promotion that I'm doing. And it's about quoting. And so I was looking at some data and I realized how many of my staff were actually working on the weekends. And then I was realizing how many staff weren't. And I was like, wait a second, we got to fix this. We got to see what the opportunity is. We got to reestablish this. So there's literally nobody better to do that with than you, Dan. So thank you for taking the time to meet with me. And let's kind of pick your brain a little bit on how you have your weekend hours set up for your team.
All right, sure. Yeah, Shelly. Thanks for reaching out to me. You sent me kind of a long text, and I said, well, there's a lot of questions here. And I said, but these are great questions. And I've always felt like your intent of really helping out your agents is something that is very valuable to not only your district, but to the whole company. So I was like, hey, these questions are great. Maybe if we could help out a few agents by just jumping on the show, and I need some YouTube content. So you're always best at helping me do that. So I'm glad to
Let's
be
do it.
on,
Let's do it.
here with you.
Don't watch any of the old videos, anyone, but this one will be a really good one. Dan, tell me how you started the idea of expanding your hours to the weekends and what that looked like when you originally kicked it off in your agency.
Wow, you know what? I don't even remember not opening on Saturdays. I was a AAA agent, for 3 years, and then I've been agency owner for 17 years. But when I sold insurance at AAA, I worked every single Saturday. I was in my early 20s, and I just from there on knew the value of availability, and I just sold a lot of policies on the weekends. So when I first opened up my agency, again, me by myself, I just worked Saturdays, and I would sell just as many policies for working half the day than a regular day. And once I started hiring staff, that just been something that I never stopped, and I actually expanded the hours there. And so, yeah, to answer your question, it wasn't something. It's just my agency was born that way, I guess.
I love it. That's so smart. Especially I'm sure there's a lot of new agency owners that are starting their agencies or getting ready to start too that find your content valuable. So I'm sure this will be at the right time for the right people, and agents may want to make adjustments too. So tell me what it's like, because we did talk about it in one of our videos before. You mentioned that you have a way that you allocate those hours to certain staff members. So what does that actually look like in your agency? Who gets to work on the weekends?
Yeah, I love how you said that. Who gets to work? Because it is an opportunity. And something I'll just touch on that you just mentioned, agents thinking about it, especially if they're new. I think it's like a prerequisite. Like you kind of have to work 6 days when you're a new agency, especially when you're new. So, it's your business and it's your livelihood, and the first few years is so important. So having a strong work ethic, I think it starts from the top. But to answer your question, yeah, there's a few ways. Not at this point at our agency, we just send out a survey to our staff members, and we say, hey, how many Saturdays would you like to work, preferably during next month? And they just fill it out. And then we have some different shift opportunities too, like a 9 to 2 or 10 to 3. Or even a 9 to 3. So, and some people take actually a 9 to 1. So we're pretty loose on what schedule they want. We try to fit it in where people kind of get what they want instead of us just saying, hey, we're just setting a schedule for everybody. And some of our top performers don't take any Saturdays, and that's okay. But a lot of them do. Some of them want to work 3, and whatever their performance is the previous month, they'll get priority. So if there's too many agents, and this actually happens, that want to take a particular Saturday, and then we just go priority of that producer's numbers. A lot of times they'll get up Saturday and they'll switch it with somebody because their weekend schedule changes. They'll let us know. But we do open from 9, and then we close at 3. And because, for closing ratio purposes too, we try to give the priority to our top agents. So the top agents get to pick literally what Saturday they want to work from what time to what time they get to choose. And the newer agents, but yeah, I like how you said it though. It's not like you have to, it's kind of like you get to. And that is something that is very important difference when it comes to having your staff motivated to work on the weekends.
Well, yeah, because we're in here to make money, right? Like I'm here to make money. I know you are too, right? And but to build a legacy for your family. But the staff have such an opportunity to close more business on the weekends when people are more available. I remember when I started as a marketer in my first agency, I worked from 4 to 8 p.m. And that's when I would do my marketing and my calls, and that's when most people were available. So it just made sense. So I can understand taking advantage of evening hours because you're Monday through Friday. You guys are have pretty expanded hours too, don't you?
During the weekdays, we're open at 8 a.m. and then we close at 7 p.m. But
Yeah.
really, a lot of activity happens after 5.
Yeah.
A lot of activity happens after 5. I think it's just one of the things that makes the biggest difference is availability. You want to be available when they are, and when they call, we want to answer the calls. When they request a lead, we want to be able to call them. And that's a good point too, Shelly, because we have some stats from, you know, marketers that make phone calls for our leads, and they get compensated on performance too. And they say, I'd rather stay later because I just get so much more results. I'd rather work on a Saturday because I get so much more, I get more commission for working those times. So I think having staff members really focused on making money, then they actually start adjusting their schedule and want to work where they get more performance at their time.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, do you change up their Monday through Friday hours if they're working on a Saturday? Do they not work a certain amount of time during the week to kind of average of 40 hours? Are they all paid hourly? How do you pay overtime if they work on the weekends? How do you handle that?
Yeah, they all work their full schedule. Obviously, if they miss it, sometimes they all get paid hourly. So if they work the full 40 hours, then it's overtime pay on Saturday. And that's something that I'm really willing to reward because that is taking a sacrifice. Some of them have families. So yeah, but I've never been the type of agency owner that was like, oh, please don't work more than 8 hours, or please, take a full hour lunch. It's like if you're busy, then like sometimes they work through it. Sometimes they
Yep.
take a 30-minute lunch break. Sometimes some people are here till 8:30, 9 o'clock. Saturdays we close at 3, but sometimes they're there. They take their laptops home. So it's really something where I look at it and I say, wow, I'm really just proud of the work ethic that happens here. That's if there's anything that I'm proud of is that our staff members really do work hard for their families. And that's something I've always tried to preach at our agency. It's one of our
Yeah.
3 core principles. It's hard work, being kind, and positive attitude. So we have our 3 core values, and that is something that uh, many of them here are really, especially during difficult times, they've had to work a little bit harder, and they're
Mhm.
definitely doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are you presenting it? Because obviously you've done it from the beginning this way. So it's just kind of the culture of your agency. But one of the most frequent questions that I got from my agents, which means I know that most agents that are watching this are going to be thinking the same thing. How are you making this seem like a positive thing, getting to work on the weekends? How do you, like, what are some things that you say when you coach your team on the opportunity closing more, obviously more revenue? Is there anything in particular that you say, or is it just kind of it is what it is and this is what we do and sign up if you can?
Yeah, I say let's get it a lot,
Hmm.
but that just means let's get money.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, I think the compensation plan makes a difference too. So I think if the base is a little bit too high and they're kind of complacent and just happy with the base, working 40 hours and they make a pretty good living, then that extra drive may not be there. So having a compensation plan where you can make it's lower base, but if you sell a lot, you can make, a lot more money. And also maybe the tiers also could help too. So if you want to get to a certain tier and you're close, you may have to work you may have to work a little bit harder to get those extra tiers. So the percentages make a difference. If it's a little too, if it doesn't make that big enough difference, but everyone's kind of like just want to get them fired up in a lot of different ways. So for some people it could be recognition. So having, peer groups like you made the top tier or you had your best month ever, and really just recognizing them and keeping a really close eye on their performance and not only compensating them for them, but really rewarding them and recognizing them for that. How many hours on the phones, how many quotes you did. We have win the day. So if you sold, if you're on the phone for more than 3 hours, if you quoted more than five people, or if you sold more than one and a half, two policies, you win the day. So there's a lot of different things that we just by measuring, a
Mhm.
lot of different things, people are like, well, I won the day, I lost the day, and just having meetings, weekly wins where they go up in front of our team members and they talk about what win they have for that week. And we clap it up and just give recognition. So I think it is a lot of it, I think, is a pay, but also I think it's a culture too. And vice versa, when we have people that don't fit our culture, so if they're lazy or mean or rude or have a negative attitude, then we kind of get rid of them. So, but really reinforcing that values, luckily we have a group of people that want to work for. So it kind of becomes more the norm. And I think there's some maybe when you're first doing it and somebody does it, then everybody kind of looks at that person weird. We don't want that. So if someone's doing well, and I think it also has to start from the owner too, ownership. You know, I think if you're willing to work hard, then your staff members are gonna step it up a gear. I think it's just like kids; they just kind of learn from their leaders. So just getting here really early and just working hard and being super disciplined and, just showing them what hard work ethic is, where a lot of people didn't even realize there's a gear that a lot
Mhm.
of people don't know that they have. But I kind of show them that there is a gear. And if they work a Saturday, I tell them, I've worked every single Saturday for 20 years. So
Yep.
it's not crazy. And I know agents that work Sundays. We don't work open on Sundays, and I don't get that crazy, but yeah, I don't
You
have
have boundaries.
I do have boundaries. Like, I don't give my cell phone numbers to clients. Like
Yeah.
my staff members, they don't really text me after hours and stuff like that. I pretty much shut it off. But those are the hours: 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday. Saturdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's when we're open. I don't like it when we get voicemails. We keep track of that too. So our
Yeah,
customer service team, they get kind of compensated on how many voicemails we get for the full month. So yeah, just really keeping a track on everything and sharing these statistics, I think helps a lot.
absolutely. So, because of your expanded hours, you've always kind of done it this way. Is there an average range of additional production that your agency is able to close by opening up on Saturdays?
Yeah, I think we will get uh we will if you sell, let's just say these are rounded numbers, but if you sell 20 policies on the weekdays, we'll sell 10 on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's like getting an extra half day, but that's without all the staff members being here too. So that's only with having like a third of the staff members here. So you get more per hour on Saturdays for sure.
Definitely.
Um, but if you think about it, there's like September, there's 20 working days, or August, there was 22 working days and 5 Saturdays. 5 Saturdays, if you're open every single Saturday, that's like gaining like 2.5 more days of the
Mhm.
month.
Yep.
That's an extra, 10%, more than 10% of, your availability. So I just think you're just missing out on a lot. And the extra pay, the pay, if the agency owners are worried about that, is so worth it, even if it's overtime. Because if someone is calling you or you got a hold of somebody, first of all, it's so in California at least, and I'm pretty sure in many parts of the country, people are so busy during the weekdays. Everyone's just hustling to survive. You just can't have an in-depth conversation as much, or where the spouse is available, or they can go outside and take pictures of their cars, or it's just they've got a lot of things going on during the week. So if someone's calling you on a Saturday, they're not sacrificing their Saturday just for fun. They're pretty serious shoppers there,
Yeah.
And with the lead game, someone requests a quote. By the time you wait the Monday at 8 a.m., like I don't know about many of you guys, but it's the funniest when I come in on Monday and I have this huge to-do list, and
Mhm.
a lead company will call me on Monday morning. It's like you're calling me at like the worst time. You
It's like
should.
going to prospect for a restaurant at lunchtime. You're like,
Yeah,
we're busy. What are you
yeah.
doing?
So all your telemarketers don't call on Monday mornings. But that's what you'd be doing if all these people requested leads over the weekend and you're calling them on Monday morning.
Yeah.
So it is a game where we have to kind of meet, play the game where, but just just by being open more, so we stagger them too. We have a Saturday, just like Saturdays, not we have a late shift and an early shift. We do that on the weekdays too, because no one can work from 8 to 7. So
Yeah.
staggering those shifts, and really sometimes, yeah, the 10 to 7 is not that ideal for a lot of people, but we put the new people in that shift.
Okay.
So hey, if you want to work here, you start off at 10 to 7 based on how you do. Maybe you have power to change your schedule. And same thing with Saturdays. So 10 to 3 is not that great, for 9 to 1 or 9 to 2, but we'll put them on that schedule. And if someone is willing to take that, then I show a lot of appreciation and to just give them a lot of credit for being a team player and someone who's willing to shift their availability for their performance. And it really makes a big difference because they do produce better and they do make more money. And a lot of times they'll have the option to go to an earlier shift, but they say, hey, I'll rather keep this shift because I'm making good money. And it makes sense to them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you have how many staff members do you have now?
20, 24, 25 right now.
24, 25-ish. Okay, so then if that's during like the full week normally, then how many spots do you like to fill on the weekends? What's ideal for you when you guys are scheduling out your staff?
About 8 to 9.
8 to 9. Okay, nice.
Hmm.
Very good.
Yeah. Or yeah, little, yeah, about 8, 7 or 8. Yeah.
Great. Are they all
Mhm.
sales or is there service on the weekends
There's
as well?
service too. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
I would love to kind of pick your brain a little bit on how you're setting up the marketing flows. That was another question the agents had. Are you buying leads on the weekends? Is that what's happening? Are you getting new leads or are they appointments that are set? Or are they just follow-ups from the prior week or weeks of trying to close the business? What are they doing when they get there, the sales agents?
Yeah. Great question. So the leads that we generate our own leads through Facebook and Google.
Hmm.
And those platforms, they really don't like it when you turn leads campaign on and off. They do better when they're just left on, and people are on Facebook and Instagram 24/7. So it's actually better just to have it on all the time because you never know when someone's going to fill out a form on your website. And then once we have that um, lead come in Friday, Monday, or throughout the week earlier, then key component of having a great successful, just as not just Saturdays, but throughout the day, is to have a marketer, telemarketer,
Hmm.
call your leads, and then leave a voicemail that says, "Hey, we're open till 3,"
Hmm.
on the voicemail. And a lot of people call back because, oh shoot, they're open. I did request a lead on Tuesday, but I've been so busy. So calling your leads on Saturday is a big part of having success on Saturdays.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that.
And always leaving a voicemail with the time you close during the weekdays too. Hey, we're open till 7. So people sometimes assume you're closed at 5. Hey, we're open till 7. So please give us a call. Even the text messages that you send out could say things like that. So it gives them a little bit of sense of not urgency, but yeah, a deadline like, hey, after this,
Yeah.
you can't call us. And really, our phones do shut off at 3. So we have that kind of system there
Yeah.
where we're getting leads throughout the week and then we're calling them all every day, including Saturdays.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's great. I think those are all the foundational questions that I have for you about the process itself of like delegating Saturdays. I think, if anything, to kind of wrap up our conversation for today, which is the shortest one we've ever had, by the way, ever. But I think just to really co-sign what you said about how your team culture in your agency, because I have seen, obviously the only reason really I knew that you work Saturdays is because you post about it, your agency's posting, right? You show all of the group meetings, the trainings, with your new I think they're sales managers, is that their titles in your agency?
Mhm.
They've taken the reins on a lot of training, group stuff, really making everybody a little bit better every single day. And I admire that culture so much. And I think that you made a really good point, and it's kind of just the norm for your agency of how you guys do things. And I know that because you post about it. So I think if there's any recruiting tip to come from this kind of conversation, it's post about the opportunity that you can work on weekends, that you can make more money on the weekends, because it literally just makes sense. Like, of course, more people are going to be available on a Saturday, not a Saturday night. No one's expecting you to give up your fun weekends necessarily, but hey, if you've got sales goals to meet and hopefully your team's there for revenue. What a great opportunity that is. So I love the way you have it set up, Dan. I really, really appreciate you giving me your insight into that.
Yeah, no, thank you again for having this opportunity to talk with you, Shelly. It's always refreshing your energy that
Oh,
you bring, to the business and thinking of ways for the agents to improve their operation. So if you don't have Saturday as part of, your agency's strategy, I highly suggest because for the agency owner too, getting here early on a Saturday before 9 o'clock and just strategizing, those are important times for me as well. So yeah, it's great to talk about this kind of stuff. So
yeah,
hopefully this helps agents. And if you are not working on Saturdays, then it's time to get your work ethic up because you're missing out.
let's get it.
That's right. Let's get it.
I love it. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you so much.
All
We'll
right,
talk soon.
Shelly. Looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Yes, have a good one.